I actually want to start with a small confession. For 21 days in Poland, I actually forgot my own name. Not because I wanted to, but because nobody used it. Everywhere I went, breakfast, backstage, rehearsals, events, nobody called me Ayushri. They called me India. And slowly, something strange started happening. Whenever somebody would say India, I would turn. And whenever somebody said Ayushri, sometimes I didn't even react. At 19 years old, standing thousands of kilometers away from home, I realized one thing I have never thought about before. Sometimes life puts us at a situation where we are not just representing ourselves. We are carrying a story far bigger than you. And that realization stayed with me throughout my journey. Like many young people, I had a dream, but it wasn't a very typical one. While most of my friends were attending lectures and they were preparing for next semester, I was preparing how to walk on stage. While most of my friends were preparing for the exams, I was preparing to represent India at an international pageant. And trust me, it doesn't look as glamorous as it does on social media. It was expensive, it was uncertain, and sometimes it was really scary. My family had to invest lakhs into something that had no guaranteed result. Try and explain this to a middle class family. Hey mom, I'm chasing a dream that might not even work out. At one point of time, I even stopped attending my lectures at Delhi University because I was always traveling, preparing, and training. Throughout this entire process, I had only one question in my mind. Am I really chasing a dream, or am I risking my future? When you see someone represent India at an international pageant, you see the photos, the glamour, the beauty, the gown and the crown. What you don't see is the pressure. The pressure to be perfect. The pressure of representing your country really well. The pressure of knowing that millions of people are watching you. And right before flying internationally, I had a mental breakdown. A real one. I kept questioning everything. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if I embarrass my own country? But there was one thing that kept me grounded. Faith. I prayed every single day, not necessarily to win the competition, but for the strength. Strength to face whatever came my way. Because sometimes courage is not just about believing that you will win. Sometimes courage is about showing up, even when you're scared. Now let's talk about the moment that stayed with me the most, the final night. The stage was set, lights everywhere, music, energy. And then the results started being announced. Out of some 70 to 80 girls, my name was called into top 24. And for a moment, it felt so good. But as the competition kept moving forward, more names were called. And mine wasn't. That was the moment I realized that my journey in the competition had ended. And something in me just went silent. I didn't cry, I didn't react, I just felt numb. And I remember my eyes scanning the room almost automatically, trying to find someone who can just hug me, who can just come to me and tell me it's okay, it was just a competition. But there was no one at that moment. But the cameras, they were still there, and people were still watching me. So what all I did was to stand tall and smile because I was still representative of India. And that's when I realized something. When you have hope, it's very easy to stay strong. Before the results, I had hope. Hope that I would win, hope things would work out, hope that my dream would come true. Hope makes life easier. But when life don't go according to your plan and you still choose to stand with grace, that is a very different kind of strength. And I learned this really meaningful thought that in life, we spend a lot of time preparing to win, but no time preparing for the moments when life don't go according to our way, and yet those moments teach us the most. After the competition, I kept thinking about one question. What does success really mean? Is success about winning a title? Or is success about chasing a dream that was uncertain in the first place? Because the truth is, in life, you can work extremely hard. You can give your best and still might not get the result you hoped for. But does that mean your effort was wasted? Even when you don't get the result you hoped for, you definitely get the growth you needed. And when I came back to India from Poland, something very unexpected happened. My social media was filled with so many messages from so many people, thousands of them. These were the people who told me they were proud of my journey, people who felt inspired by my journey, people who saw honesty in my journey. And that's when I realized something very beautiful, that I may not have won the competition internationally, but my journey still meant something to people. And sometimes that's more important than winning any title. Now that I look back at my journey, I don't see a pageant. I actually see a life lesson. A life lesson that applies to everyone here. Students, teachers, parents. Life rarely goes according to our plan. Dreams changes, results surprise you. And sometimes your best effort still feels it wasn't enough. But that doesn't mean your story is failing. It simply means that your story is still unfolding. Now, as 20-year-old, I don't have life figured out. Not even close. But there's one thing that I strongly believe. Life can still be bigger than what we planned, better than what we imagined, and more meaningful than what we planned. But only if you keep trying. Only if you keep showing up. And only if you remember one simple thing. Your story doesn't belong to results. Your story doesn't belong to judges. And your story doesn't belong to other people's expectations. Your story belongs to you, and you have the chance to keep writing your story every single day. Thank you so much.